I'm making bullet points right now. It's bullet point time. Are you getting this?
Yes.
Drew, I'm making bullet points about you so that we can effectively write a country song. It's a very scientific approach to a very unscientific art
Drew,
form.
ex-roommate.
I'm talking.
Check. Drew, 290 DeVoe.
He's
Check.
right. He's right.
Drew.
290 DeVoe.
What comes to mind when Drew comes to mind?
Dude, this story could be told. Drew and Patrick one time went out to La Mela in Little Italy, and this is when the waiter came up to them like after 6 courses and was like, "Y'all ready for the meats?" And Drew and Pat were like, "We've eaten a lot. Like, I don't know how much more we need." And the guy goes, "That's not what I asked you." And he brought this massive plate of meat, which they eventually consumed, along with like 3 bottles of face-purpling red wine. And then they made it back to Brooklyn somehow, climbed a ladder onto a roof, jumped into somebody's pool in their backyard in Brooklyn, and showed up at 290 DeVoe. Literally.
No fucking way.
Dude, swear to God, face is purple like from here to here, like a big clown smile of purple from all the red wine they've been drinking, and soaking wet like in a TV show where they just got a bucket of water dumped on them like right before they walked in the door. I mean, it was ridiculous. And Drew is like a cat and hates to be wet, so he was just like, he came in like half laughing and half just really, really like uncomfortable. It's amazing.
Wow.
And, oh, the ladder that they climbed up was actually a clothesline not connected to the building that they then jumped from the ladder onto the clothesline. God knows how hammered.
God, man.
They just saw the pool and jumped over?
No, they climbed up the clothesline first, and then they jumped onto the building, and then from the building they...
Climb up a clothesline.
It's like a ladder shape.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a good one. Drew also, one time Patrick and I were fighting and fuck. He's a diffuser of fights. He did Pat and I were fighting in a parking lot one time in Texas.
Fighting?
Fighting. We were physically fighting actually. We started like fighting and then we were like, oh, what if we put on these like sort of soft gloves, then we can punch each other full on in the head. And Pat whacked the shit out of me and I was like, alright, that's enough. I was taunting him and Patrick just came in with like a fucking precision punch right to the nose, like right in the tip of the nose, and I was like, alright, done. But we continued to yell at each other later on, and Drew I've never seen anyone else do this, apparently it's a famous thing now, but Drew just laid down face first in the parking lot like this. While the whole fight was going on, and Pat and I realized like only after 2 minutes he'd been there, and we were like, what the fuck are you doing? And the fight was over, of course, because it was just so ridiculous.
Have you ever fought Drew?
Drew doesn't really fight.
No.
Another time we were in downtown Austin. It was me, Patrick, John Ray, and Drew, and this is when John Ray was a wild man before he got married, and and we were downtown and like we walked past this group of like big tough Texas guys, and one of them like bumped John Ray in the shoulder, and John Ray goes, "What? You gonna do something?" And like immediately started talking shit to this guy. It was like, come here, John used to talk shit like you've never heard anyone. It was amazing. And so it started to escalate into like some chest bumps and like a little bit of like soft pushes. And there were 2 groups of guys like also standing behind these 2 guys like, oh fuck, are we gonna have to fight? Is this actually gonna happen? And then all of a sudden we hear from like down the block Drew, who had kept walking and turned back, and he was like probably like a good 40 yards away. Like he was pretty small on our horizon, and we just hear, hey! And everyone stops and all looks at Drew, and he just throws his hands up in the air and convulses and goes, I am made of solid iron! Fight over. Like, we were all just like, alright, y'all go on, have a good night. We're gonna deal with our buddy.
He won by distraction.
Yes, dude. That's what he did in both cases. That's his move.
He should run for office.
Maybe could that be a foreign policy just like move?
It should be the only foreign policy.
Damn it! Didn't I have a beer in here?
It should be the policy to end all the wars.
End all wars, save mankind.